Time now for the press review with Solange Mougin. Good to see you, Solange.
Hi, Delano.
You're starting out in the UK, and Boris Johnson set to lift COVID restrictions from the 19th of July.
Yeah, Freedom Day, as many Brits are calling this lifting of restrictions. Well, it's just 2 weeks away, to which the tabloid The Sun says free Lions. Of course, this is a wordplay on England's football team, the Three Lions, which will go up against Denmark on Wednesday at Wembley Stadium. The fact that 16,000 fans are expected is also in itself creating controversy because of COVID. Now, if we look at a mashup of the British press, there's also, in addition to the joy, there's also a lot of focus on Johnson having said, now is the time. There's also a discussion on the Delta variant risk or fears that Boris Johnson's rolling of the dice of his, they say, because of COVID and its 27,000 cases in the past 24 hours. Now, because of this, the Daily Mirror says the government is, quote, masking for trouble, a fun pun there on the upcoming mask lifting that may actually as well be hiding some real trepidation. As we can see in Blower's cartoon, where Johnson says it's okay, you can come out now, but everyday citizens, having bunkered down for so long, well, they aren't so sure it's a good idea.
Now, one of the effects of the COVID pandemic has been, the pressing has changed the way people have access to food.
Yeah, this is a phenomenon that is actually touching the world. As the Washington Post tells us, food prices on basic ingredients are increasingly going up and globally, and even skyrocketing in some countries. In Nigeria, rice prices have hit the roof. In Argentina, where people eat a lot of beef, that too has gone sky high, the prices there. This is a recipe, the paper says, for hunger and also unrest. And already that is happening in some places, like in Ethiopia, where the Financial Times tells us that food shortages, along with the political demands of the rebels, well, this could spark further fighting, as 400,000 people are currently suffering from famine and 1.8 million are on the brink of it. Now, political action or inaction has everything to do with this. L'Humanité tells us it has an in-depth look at how, for months now, 1.5 million people in Madagascar have been suffering from food insecurity. And they also have an interview today with a climate specialist who explains that things like COVID and global warming do exacerbate in food insecurity. But at the end of the day, the L'Humanité says it's politics that push things to the crisis level.
And access to water is important to provide access to food, and that's creating tensions along the Nile River.
Yeah, Ethiopia has officially informed Egypt that they are pushing ahead with the second phase of filling its controversial mega dam, according to Egypt today. Now, this comes as there is going to be a UN Security Council meeting on the issue on Thursday, which pits Ethiopia, which is upstream on the Nile, against Sudan and Egypt over water access. Now, as the paper Shuruk tells us, both Sudan and Egypt are on a diplomacy campaign to get countries to pressure Ethiopia to make sure that there are binding rules for Africa's largest dam.
Now, access to water is also being discussed in the U.S.
Yeah, as The Hill, the political site, tells us, the record-breaking temperatures that we saw in the western U.S. and in Canada have rung yet again alarm bells over drought. And The Hill says that there is a growing push actually to diversify water supply, to reduce demand, and to repurpose land. And that is already happening, according to the Wall Street Journal. They tell us that drought has brought a reckoning in California. Only recently, the almond fields had been booming, the almond industry had been booming, but now the $6 billion industry is facing such water shortages that farmers are actually bulldozing their almond trees and looking for less water-needy crops.
Shifting gears now to another profitable and delicious crop, but this is champagne.
Yes, a little fun champagne, but also another political battle here. The Guardian tells us that there's a fight that's bubbling between Russia and France over champagne after Vladimir Putin announced on Friday a new law that says that all foreign producers must put the words sparkling wine on their bottles, whereas Russian producers can still use the term champagne. I can't say it, champanskoe. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Now, this has led to much anger in France, with the agricultural minister saying the name champagne should only be used and can only be used for wine that's made in the eponymous region. But many houses have just decided not to ban exports to Russia, but rather just to reprint their labels.
Reprinting the labels. Now, you finally, you're going to tell us about whether la bise, the French 2 kisses on the cheek, is it back?
Yeah, after champagne, another French tradition. Slate is asking whether or not la bise, kissing on both cheeks, is coming back now that COVID is starting to feel like it's behind us.
It's back.
I'm not so sure. Personally, I haven't been giving many people the bise or had to be in interactions where it is. But Slate tells us that a resounding yes, that it is back and it is coming back. They say it is part of France's cultural fabric, that it is a tradition and will stay. Some expats like myself were quite happy that there was a break from all that cheek kissing. But for those who love the bise, it sounds like it's back.
Well, it's good to give it to people you like, so that's important.
That's true. That's very true.
Thank you very much for that, Solange. Solange there with the press review.